the Chi-Town experience on the flight. Let me go tune in to Keek on the mic. He gon' make sure we get our news and highlights. When you get on YouTube, you better hit the like.
After a huge day one of free agency from Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears, they have been quiet the last couple of days in free agency, but there are now rumors surrounding the Chicago Bears that they are actually showing interest in 3 big name wide receivers in free agency. Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. As always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. So Bears fans, first and foremost, happy officially new league year around the National Football League. That means all the signings and trades that Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears have made over the last week or so are finally official as soon as today. And we actually got to hear from all the recent signings and trades that he made from guys like Jonah Jackson, Grady Jarrett, Joe Thuney. These guys are absolutely remarkable. They are not only going to bring their talent to the Chicago Bears, they are going to bring true leadership to the Chicago Bears as well. So I am definitely happy to have each and one of those guys here in Chicago because they definitely make this football team a whole lot better. So like we've known already, Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears were really busy on day one of free agency, landing multiple guys to upgrade their trenches. But then they kind of took a step back and, relaxed for a little bit for the last couple of days. But now it seems that the Chicago Bears, or at least there's rumors going out there that the Chicago Bears are actually showing interest and 3 big name wide receivers in terms of the free agency market. And once again, do not shoot the messenger, meaning me. These are just rumors. Doesn't mean actually going to happen. But the rumor going around the Chicago Bears in regard to them showing some interest in some big time wide receiver names in free agency are 1, Brandon Cooks, 2, Tyler Lockett, and 3, Amari Cooper. And supposedly they are showing the most interest in Amari Cooper. So let's go ahead and break down each and every one of these names. First and foremost, Brandon Cooks, now at 31 years old. He is the well-traveled speedster. He has 6 1,000-yard seasons in his career. In 2024, he had 26 catches, 259 yards, 3 touchdowns receptions, and he only played in 10 games last year. Moving on to Tyler Lockett, he is 32 years old. The ex-Seahawks legend had a really great career in Seattle. They finally decided to mutually part ways. He's really good in the slot. Could be a great safety blanket for Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears offense. He's dependable and durable. Tyler Lockett does not miss really any games, right? Especially during his career. In 2024, he had 49 catches, 600 yards, and 2 touchdown receptions. And then Amari Cooper. And the rumor going around is that the Chicago Bears are most interested in Amari Cooper. 30 years old, going to turn 31 in June. His 2024 stats had 20 catches, 297 yards, and 2 touchdown receptions. The only thing about Amari Cooper is that he's only played in 14 games his last 2 years, dealing with multiple different injuries. So, Bears fans, here's my take. I am not really interested in Brandon Cooks. I understand that Ben Johnson is looking for some speed on his offense here in Chicago. I am just not really interested in Brandon Cooks at this point in his career. Once again, only played in 10 games last year. Just getting older, definitely not the same player. I think maybe as a wide receiver 3 for cheap, I guess it makes sense, but definitely not my top option if the Chicago Bears were going to add a veteran wide receiver. When you look at Tyler Lockett, I absolutely love Tyler Lockett. I've always admired his game with the Seattle Seahawks. Once again, just like I mentioned, really, really good in the slot. Could be a great safety blanket for Caleb Williams. He's dependable and durable as well. I think he would fit in perfectly what we already have here with guys like Tyler Scott, DJ Moore, and Rome Odunze. He may be a little bit more expensive than guys like Brandon Cooks and Amari Cooper, just because of how well he has been in his career, how durable and dependable. Once again, this guy does not miss any football games. He takes care of his body, does not take a lot of contact on the football field as well. But I think he would be a really good wide receiver 3 here in Chicago. And then Amari Amari Cooper, 30 years old, going to turn 31 in June. I'm just not interested in Amari Cooper at this point in his career. Once again, that's no disrespect to Cooper. He has been a very good receiver for a very long time. I understand a lot of people will say, well, Keek, he would only be our wide receiver 3. I just think there are better options for our wide receiver 3 than Amari Cooper. Once again, has only played in 14 games in the last 2 seasons in the National Football League, just dealing with multiple different injuries. So the injury bug has definitely haunted him over the last couple of years. I'm just not a big fan of this move at this time for Amari Cooper. But my big thing about all these names, right? You were talking about Brandon Cooks, talking about Tyler Lockett, talking about Amari Cooper. I even talked about maybe bringing Tim Patrick into the fold because his familiarity with Ben Johnson in Detroit last season. We just need to figure out how to bring Keenan Allen back to the Chicago Bears. Once again, in 2024, in 15 games, 70 catches, 744 yards, 7 touchdowns, and just that connection that he made with Caleb Williams at the end of the year, especially. Obviously, Caleb Williams has expressed that he wants Keenan Allen back as well. So to me, it makes too much sense. And I think the longer Keenan Allen waits and sits there as in free agency, I think the cheaper that he is going to get to possibly bring him back. Keenan Allen has made it very clear that he either wants to come back to Chicago or go back to LA. So for me personally, I would really love to see Keenan Allen with Caleb Williams for another year, with DJ Moore and Roma Dunze as well, and with Ben Johnson and Ben Johnson's offense here in Chicago. I think it would be dynamic. I think Caleb Williams and Allen would definitely build on their connection that they created last season for the Chicago Bears. So to me, this all depends on the money that Keenan Allen wants, but I really, really hope that Keenan Allen, the Chicago Bears, or Ryan Poles can figure out a deal to bring him back to the Chicago Bears, because it makes all the sense in the world, and I would really love to see some continuity within Caleb Williams' weapons as well here in Chicago. So my option is definitely Keenan Allen, but let me know down below in the comment section, out of all the names I've mentioned on today's video, Brandon Cooks, Tyler Lockett, or Amari Cooper, which one would you guys be most interested in Ryan Poles signing as the wide receiver 3 here in Chicago? For me, it's either Keenan Allen or definitely a guy like Tyler Lockett. But before I let you guys go, Bears fans, I want to mention a couple of things to you. Once again, I want to give huge kudos to Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson for building the trenches the right way. And I just wanted to show you this little clip that I saw on social media. It definitely put a huge smile on my face. The Chicago Bears now have one of the most expensive offensive lines in the National Football League. They have the 5th most expensive offensive line in the National Football League, with the signings of Jonah Jackson, Drew Dahlman, and Joe Tooney at $62.2 million. And that's a rare sight, right? We haven't seen this in a very long time. That means Ryan Poles finally invested the right way with guys that are, Pro Bowl type of players, guys that can really take our offensive line to the next level and protect our franchise quarterback in Caleb Williams the right way. So I just wanted to show you this little picture that I saw, because it definitely put a huge smile on my face. And I also wanted to give you guys an update on the number 10 overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. We obviously had a conversation yesterday about Courtney Cronin, just giving her opinion and basically where the Bears are possibly leaning with the number 10 overall pick. But now ESPN Draft insider Matt Miller believes that left tackle isn't in play for the Chicago Bears with the number 10 overall pick in 2025. He explained on 670 The Score what he believes the Chicago Bears will do, but he thinks that Braxton Jones is at least safe for one more season with the Chicago Bears. Check this out, Bears fans.
Well, let's focus on exactly that. I had this reaction, Matt, and you would know if there's someone who's worthwhile. But to me, once you have traded for 2 guards and drafted your center, I think interior offensive line is off the table at 10.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it would be. I would say offensive line is off the table at 10, just because there's no indication that they aren't Braxton Jones fans. I've actually talked to Poles about this, not super recently, but we've had Braxton Jones conversations. They drafted Darnell Wright in the top 10. So I would say, I would probably take offensive line off your radar at 10.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know about left tackle. If Will Campbell falls because of some crazy arm length, idiocy out there. But it's interesting. Your take on the because you think Braxton Jones is the guy if he comes back healthy.
If he comes back healthy, I think he's at least the guy for 2025. I don't feel super convicted about a Will Campbell to where I would take him over Ashton Genty or Tyler Warren or Colston Loveland and maybe even some of the defensive ends. Like I don't see Will Campbell as Joe Alt or Penei Sewell, where you got to draft him. Like because there is the arm length stuff, and people can laugh at it, but there's not a good left tackle in the NFL with under 33-inch arms. Just it doesn't exist. 33 and a half is probably the best in the NFL right now. That's Rashawn Slater. So there's not a precedent for that. Even as you project him to guard, he's going to have to completely rework his stance. I don't know if you guys have talked to anyone about that as we're about 45 days away from the draft. Will Campbell plays with the most upright stance I've ever seen for an offensive lineman in my life. And we're going to ask him to play guard. He's going to have to completely rework his stance. That's doable, but he's not this plug and play guy. I love the work ethic, the character. He's hilarious, super productive at LSU, but he is a player that's going to need some work as he transitions into the NFL.
Bears fans, honestly, Matt Miller makes a whole lot of sense. And when we're looking at the left tackle class here in the 2025 NFL draft, you think of Will Campbell. The big thing on him is that he is a good player, right? But like Matt Miller said, he is still not really a plug and play player in regard to playing left tackle in the National Football League. He has short arms, and I kind of agree with Matt Miller that sometimes it's a struggle for guys that have short arms to succeed in the National Football League. I'm not sitting here saying that Will Campbell can't accomplish that feat, but it's very rare to see a guy with short arms have success as a left tackle in the National Football League. Of course, with Simmons from Ohio State, he's coming off an injury. I think he can be the best natural left tackle in this year's NFL draft. The problem is that he's coming off an injury, and there's a lot of Bears fans, even including myself, that are not going to invest on the number 10 overall pick on a guy that is coming off a major injury. Maybe you trade back and land a guy like Simmons at Ohio State. That would make more sense. And of course, Armand Membu as well. There's a possibility that the Bears could trade back and get him. But yeah, Matt Miller makes a whole lot of sense. I think left tackle may be off the board in regard to using your first round pick. Maybe you find a gem in round 2, maybe in round 3, who knows? But I think he makes a lot of sense that with the first overall pick, the Chicago Bears could fall in love with either tight end Tyler Warren out of Penn State, or running back Ashton Genty, or Marion Hampton, maybe in a trade back from North Carolina in a trade back as well. I think when we put 2 and 2 together, it makes the most sense for the Chicago Bears to trade back from number 10 in this year's NFL draft, land some more draft capital in round 2, or maybe even next year's NFL draft, depending on how far you trade down from that number 10 spot in this year's draft, and then just draft the best player available. And Matt Miller makes a good point. It may make more sense for the Chicago Bears to maybe just draft another edge rusher to pair to this upgrade defensive unit that we have here in Chicago. So to me, I just want to get you guys' opinion on what you, if you agree with Matt Miller on 670 to score. I think he makes a whole lot of sense. I think, unless you're going to trade back, you're not going to use the number 10 overall pick on a left tackle. And he's not saying that Braxton Jones is the answer by no means. He just thinks that the Bears can use that number 10 pick on other things, like a defensive lineman. If they fall in love with Ashton Genty, they take Ashton Genty or Marion Hampton. But he's just saying that with the number 10 overall pick, he does not think it's going to be another offensive lineman for the Chicago Bears. So let me know down below on how you're feeling what Matt Miller had to say in regard to the Chicago Bears and what they would do with the number 10 overall pick. But other than that, Bears fans, make sure you guys continue to hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms, and make sure you share this episode of Kick on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. But other than that, back for all new Bears podcasts right here on Kick on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and as always, bear down.
You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't kick on the mic. You can go and subscribe, cause I be on it right.